Hello, Corey. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Corey. Can you just quickly give a brief background about yourself?
Yeah, no, happy to do so. Corey Mulloy, managing partner at HighlandX. I've been at Highland for the majority of my career, over 25 years now. My first 8 were spent in Boston, where we still have an office to date, and the last 18 have been spent out here in California, where I had originally opened up our office, and now kind of co-lead things going forward.
Excellent, excellent. And for those who don't know me, this is Nikhil Gupta, founder and CEO of ArmorCode. We're very lucky to have Corey here. So, Corey, can you share the top 3 trends that you are seeing in cybersecurity, especially in application security and vulnerability management?
Yeah, no, happy to do so. I mean, first of all, maybe there's a little bit of context. As a firm, we've been investing in cyber for 25 years, really since I joined Highland. And we've always believed that inevitably threat vectors are introduced as companies and individuals change how they do things. So where and how they spend their time. I'd say over the last few years, that was, think about kind of the remote and hybrid work, which really we also saw kind of a transition from virtual private networks to zero trust network access. Obviously, the continued shift to the cloud have certainly been some of the themes we've been pursuing over the last few years. I'd say to date, what we're seeing, AI, obviously it's been an area we've invested in for probably 7 or 8 years now, but within cyber, as this gets deployed more broadly, we are, anticipate and are already starting to see many kind of new threat vectors emerge. And of course, AppSec, and that's ArmorCode. AppSec is, already a, almost $5 billion market in 2021. Great growth. I think it's, well, almost 25% CAGR. So a market of size and scale where there's clearly, based on that kind of growth rate, incredible tailwinds. And so for us, who's a very thematically oriented investor, we've been spending a ton of time in AppSec. In fact, first, as you know, Nikhil, reached out to you almost 2 years ago now. I think it was December of 21. We initially cold called you, took many phone calls and follow-up or emails throughout the spring of 22 when you finally eventually called us back. I think you were playing hard to get, but a lot of it was because we had really kind of felt that AppSec, vulnerability management, all these sorts of things had characteristics of a market that obviously had good growth and tailwinds, but was, a huge opportunity for continued investment on our part.
Awesome. So yeah, just to expand on that, why ArmorCode and why now?
Yeah, I mean, for us, 3 things I'd say. First, which is we're kind of a people first investor. So first was team, second market, and then 3 was we believe ArmorCode's got an incredibly high quality business model that already had strong momentum and traction. So I'd say those were probably the 3 high level kind of reasons to invest for us. As I said, as a people first investor, the first question we ask and the last question we ask before finalizing a commitment to invest is, would we work for this team? We think of ourselves as doing so. As you know, we think of ourselves as working for you, and you've clearly put us to work right away, using your patented kind of middle of the night text messages, which we love. We'll do well by you. Secondly, as I hinted to earlier, just the market, right? Its current size and scale, and yet continued growth, I think highlights a lot of the opportunities that I'm happy to kind of hit on briefly of why we think that is. But lastly, just, a company early in its trajectory has got really impressive momentum, great traction. The business model that you've kind of architected as founder and CEO is really high quality. The metrics are fantastic, very capital efficient. I think most notably, the metrics we live the most are kind of the retention metrics, which I think really highlights both on the gross in terms of, customer retention, but also on a net in terms of the expansion opportunities you've been able to have, really are kind of characteristics of what we think are best in class type companies. So For us, if you were to dig in on kind of the product aspect of what we like and why we are spending time in AppSec in general, is we love platform plays. Historically, we've done really well as an investor in platform plays. We think platform plays almost by definition have category defining type potential, which for us means billion-dollar plus publicly traded company type upside, right? That's kind of what we aspire to. We've had over 50 IPOs in Highland's history, 40 at over $1 billion, type private or public type values, over 200 exits. But really what we love are those IPO type stories. And we think platform plays lends itself to that. I think the other characteristics from a pattern matching, pattern recognition standpoint that attracted us as we dug in and spoke with customers who, by the way, just are in love with what you're doing, was the fact that we've seen this play out in other categories. And this part is this kind of single pane of glass, aspirational, where there's been a ton of tools and products and technology purchased over the last few years, driving that kind of $5 billion kind of market in 2021. And yet customers are kind of left still wanting more, right? And they're looking for that single pane of glass to drive the ROI that they had expected from earlier purchases, to drive the performance, and to really maximize the returns on existing kind of security investments. So when we talked to customers, we heard incredible things, seeing kind of customers were seeing 10x type improvements. They were seeing real improvements in terms of team efficiency, almost, I think, up to 90%. And then also just kind of reducing the developer time in terms of spent addressing kind of vulnerabilities, by 33% and so forth. So great ROI, much of which was driven on investments they had already made, and yet looking to kind of get more out of those. I'd say the other aspect or characteristics that we saw as a similar trend in winners in the past is when a company isn't just creating a new category, but it's also collapsing or consolidating multiple existing categories, right? And when I think about ArmorCode, which we didn't appreciate upon the initial meeting, but certainly did by the time we made our final investment committee decision to invest, was, the AppSec posture management, unified vulnerability management, AppSec orchestration and correlation. I mean, these are all existing silos, opportunities, like budget line items, candidly, for a CISO, and yet our view is you're collapsing and consolidating all these, right? And thus we think creates just, more of a likelihood that you are and will eventually be down the road creating a brand new category within cyber, and thus doing so at some point being $1 billion publicly traded company, which is kind of, I think, the dream certainly we have for you.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, so I know you weren't raising capital, and we're playing very hard to get for years until we could convince you to do so. But nonetheless, as we kind of got to know each other better, I know you had given a lot of thought to what would you do with the capital now, just from a kind of investment in product, go to market, continue to support what is already an incredible list of happy customers. But I know there's a lot more and you want to do for them, and a lot of ambitions that the company has. So how are you thinking about kind of, the investment and putting it to good work?
Absolutely. First of all, Corey, you're a great salesman. You're able to convince an entrepreneur to take money when they don't need it. But nevertheless, so there are 3-4 key things, right? So as you mentioned, we have like a good roster of customers, over a dozen Fortune 500 customers, few big fours who are training their teams to ramp up on the product here. So definitely we want to make sure we are beefing up our customer success team and making sure that the existing customers are happy, and a lot of them are not only landing, they're also expanding. So that's number one. Number two is the product market fit is there, right? So what we want to make sure is we want to kind of expand on the new capabilities in the platform. So as you mentioned, platform approach is what it kind of makes us very unique. We started the application security posture management, added ASOC capabilities, that it added this space vulnerability management, now supply chain, CI/CD posture management and AI, a lot of those capabilities. So in fact, we are a few of the rare companies who are going to grow 20 to 30% in next 6 months or so on all aspects, mostly on the go-to-market front. The third thing here is on the channel front, right? Now that the product market fit is there, and we have had a lot of direct deals in here for building a large enterprise business, channel is like the way to go. And today, I would say 50% of our deals are coming through channel, but our plan is to start next year, make it 100% channel, and we want to be channel initiated and channel fulfilled deals over there. So that's another focus. And last but not least is the European market. So we forayed into a European market. We had a few customers, large customers, who already not only landed, expanded, and as you know, several of our customers are signing 3 years or 5 years deal. So we believe, Europe is a big market. So that's an area where we are doubling down. We have fund an office there, and we want to make an investment there. So I'm looking forward to having a great use of this money here. And to wrap it up here. So, Corey, tell us one fun thing about yourself that most people don't know about it.
Well, you might have, since we've met in person, but I'm vertically challenged. So you and I are I'm barely 5'9", but I have a love and passion for basketball. I fell in love with the wrong sport, and growing up in Chicago, or out in the suburbs of Chicago, and still love playing. Although after my second knee surgery, I probably should have hung up the sneakers a long time ago. But I guess a fun fact is no one ever would guess in meeting me that I had dunked a basketball in the past at my height, and that was many, many decades ago at this point. But I guess that would be a fun fact that no one ever would be able to guess.
Wow, certainly, even though I've met in person, I would not have guessed until you told me here. And again, thanks a lot, Corey, for your time here, and looking forward to the journey together.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's going to be a ton of fun. So we're excited to be partners, and thank you again for finally taking our phone call and agreeing to be partners. We're excited to work for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.